thank you for having us this time. This is a great opportunity, and he's AVODA founder. Just to introduce yourself to the camera.
You're the founder. There you go. My name's Tom Bailey. Founded AVODA just over a year ago, late 2023. I just wanted to make myself a set of golf clubs to play golf, and we ended up doing something pretty special by accident.
Nick Bailey, co-founder here. Tommy approached me with this crazy idea a year ago, as he said, and it's been a pretty crazy journey since then. A lot's happened, and we wouldn't be where we are without Mike Shy.
Mike Shy. We're here at the Mike Shy Golf Academy in Fresno, California, in Madera, California as well. And longtime coach of Bryson DeChambeau. And we just have a big tent that we do a lot of different types of projects that nobody will touch. And one length or single length, whatever you want to call it, came out of here. Even though one length has been around for many, many years. Bobby Jones won the Grand Slam with the same length set of golf clubs. We just thought we would rekindle it, and here's one of the first sets that we did, and then we are now working with AVODA, and we're excited about the future.
はい、長村敦です。ADGI、代表です。今回は、ここカリフォルニアフレズノでですね、AVODA の、プロダクトの紹介、それと、トレーニングを通じて、AVODA のフィッティングについて学びに来ました。はい、浅井さん。
アーチシャフトの浅井と申します。本業は、シャフトなんですけれども、ゴルフプロダクトについてものすごい興味深い、ワンレングスアイアンというところから、それを発案している人たちにですね、新しい知識を教えてもらうことで、また自分の、ゴルフ用品の知識のですね、アップデートができたらいいなと思っております。
はい、それではですね、今回はどのようにして、ワンレングスが始まったのかというところから、マイクに聞いていきたいと思います。Okay, Mike, so how you started in this one lengths?
Well, Bryson in 2011, 2012, Bryson came to me and he asked, why do I have to hit a variable length set of golf clubs? And I said, you don't. But it's an easy question to ask and a very difficult question to answer. And so we did a little bit of research, kind of figured out, what the head weights and what the clubs needed to be from a weight perspective. First thing I did is I was part of Henry Griffiths, and we have screw-on heads, and I screwed on a sand wedge, an 8-iron, and a 5-iron, and he went out and hit them. The weights weren't right, but at least he got to feel what that one length was. Okay, and then, once we did that, we had to make a set. And so the first set that we made was, I had an old set of Nike combo irons, and we decided that the head weights needed to weigh right around 280 grams. And we went to town, we added weights on the longer clubs or the less lofted clubs. And then as you can see the clubs, we just did whatever we had to do to make the head weights work on the lofted clubs.
So the head weights is, all the head weights is 280 grams?
Yeah.
で、一番初めにやったことっていうのは、すべてのクラブのウェイトを揃えるっていう作業をしたそうです。で、これは285っていうのをベースに、すべての、アイアンのヘッドの重さを統一したっていうことなんですけど、自分たちで始めたんで、見てください。これ、かなり削っちゃってます。見えるかな？そう、これ自分たちで、ナイキのアイアンを元に削って同じ長さのシャフトを入れて同じ重さに自分たちでこさえたっていうところが一番初めです。Okay.
And so the ones with the grooves in them, those were Bryson's favorite clubs because he called that his Bryson grind. And so those clubs actually have won 2 or 3 junior golf tournaments. And once he hit the 5-iron, he actually went out to a hole and he was probably 200 yards, a little over 200 yards, hit the 5-iron, hit it perfect, said he'd never look back.
で、これ一番初めに使って、でその後 自分たちでこうやってグラインドして、でこのグラインドのことを、ブライソングラインドって自分たちで、名前をつけて、でスタートしました。で、これで、このセットですでにジュニア大会2勝とか3勝とかしたらしいんだけど、5番アイアンで200ヤードちょいを打った時からもう、他のアイアンは考えられないよねっていうところへ行ったそうです。
So the next part was I was very fortunate. I have great relationships with a lot of people in the industry. A good friend of mine who was at TaylorMade, who had been on the tour for many, many years representing golf pros. I had told him about what we were thinking about, and he actually had clubs with less loft that were heavier, and then clubs with more loft that were lighter, and they were throwaway heads. And so he sent me a couple of sets, and we put them together, and that was the next part of the process. So we were still having to add a little bit of lead tape and then also take off a little bit off the club. Then the next part was a very good friend of mine, David Adele, who owned Adele Golf at the time, lived in Texas and knew Bryson, and we were fortunate there where he actually made the first set of single-length golf clubs that didn't require lead tape or lots of grinding. So they were specifically made, for Bryson. He bought into the deal that it worked. Bryson had already proven that it worked because he had won tournaments with it at the college level. And so he was then the next part of the story. And at that point, we also started making single-length clubs for our students here. And so a lot of our juniors actually started playing with the clubs that were same length. And whether it was girls or boys, they were all in and playing some pretty good golf as well. So we knew that it worked and that it was an easier way in some ways to learn as well. And I think it's important to understand that the wedges, everybody has this view that the wedges are super long, right? And yet they're only that much longer. And so we believed, and I believe, that there was an advantage to that. So obviously the head weights were lighter, but the clubs were a little bit longer. So out of a bunker, theoretically, you could generate more club head speed, create more spin. So to me, there were some advantages there. We certainly saw it in Bryson's play, because he really was never that good of a wedger, but he was certainly a better wedger with the one-length wedges. And he had been using those since day one. He was committed 4-iron or 3-iron all the way through 60 degree, which most of my students were as well at the time. And we were making them all here. I mean, nobody was making that club. We had to do a lot of grinding and lead taping and so on to make stuff work. But it was we were having some success, for sure. So then the next part, as we're moving along, and Cobra obviously came on board, was committed to the one length idea. In fact, they made many different types of sets, which was great. And so certainly made my life a lot easier for students, for sure. I still feel like there was a fitting gap there was a problem out in the field, maybe not so much here, but I didn't have that control. And but it certainly helped Bryson go along in his career. He made a lot of money, and so on. And then the next part of the great journey to me is working now with AVODA, and really kind of culminating in all the knowledge that I think we've gathered over the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And Tom and AVODA putting that together, and now putting together a golf club that I think really touches everybody. Bryson used to always say it's not for everybody. I will honestly say that the AVODA club is for everybody. There's no doubt in my mind. I think it goes back to full circle. A lot of people don't realize that Bobby Jones won the Grand Slam with the same length basic set of golf clubs. Now, he certainly had more than 14 clubs, because the 14 club rule really wasn't in play then. But his main set of clubs that we saw at Augusta National in the trophy room, all same length, same weight, same everything basically, as our first set that we actually made, which was pretty amazing to see. The other thing that I see now is that I think, back when Bobby Jones was having his clubs made, every club was made individually for him. And so it was very expensive. And then we went into the time for 100 years where you could buy a set of 8 irons off the shelf, right? Off the rack. And so now we're back in that setting where especially where AVODA is, where we can do a fit and really customize the club from, let's say, the longer iron all the way down, or the less lofted club all the way to the club that has the least or has more loft. And so to me, it's come big time full circle back to what Bobby Jones would have probably liked to have seen.